Hello and welcome to the Wolfchase Toyota Insider, the Memphis Tiger Network. I'm Jeff Bridwell alongside Melissa McFerrin and Coach. Going to tip it up for real now as the regular season is about to get underway, but you played your one and only exhibition game over the weekend. Very tight with Lemoyne Owen in the first half. Whatever adjustment you made or said at the half paid off, ran away with it in the second.
Well, I said this after the game, and I said it in halftime, that I felt like they were playing harder than we were, and I was really disappointed in that. First time we were in our uniforms. There may have been a few nerves and a little uneasiness. It's not a team that we know well. There wasn't a lot of scout information. They only had 3 returning players, so we went a little bit blind. But I also felt like we didn't respond real quickly to the players that they had on the floor. So yes, it was really close in the first half. I didn't think our man-to-man defense, which we've spent a lot of time on, I didn't think it showed itself very well in the first half. Luckily, we were able to kind of regain ourselves. We did a much better job of rebounding in the second half. We got in transition. We got a lot of easy baskets in transition in the second half, and certainly that was the reason for the big 62-point outbreak or something in the second half.
And let's face it, it is a different dynamic this year. Last year with the limited numbers, everyone kind of knew going in, here's what I'm doing. I know I'm going to play this amount of minutes. Now, fortunately, you have the numbers, so it's a different dynamic this season. It
is a different dynamic, and it should be, and it needs to be.
Yeah.
At times, I think a year ago, our players did get a little bit comfortable and coasted a little bit because they knew they had to. We don't want to do that this year. So we had some players come out early in the game because we didn't think their effort was good. They may not have been happy about that, but I wasn't really happy about what they were doing on the floor. So we got that out of the way. And we're going to have a little bit of depth this year, not a tremendous amount. We're going to have more depth in the post than we're going to have on the wing, particularly until we get Rudy White back on the court. But nonetheless, it was good for us to get out there. We watched a lot of video after that, so hopefully we can make some corrections going into our opener against Jackson State.
I know going into a season, coaches always wish they had a little more time to get this in, get that in, clean this up. But coming into the Jackson State game, where do you think you are? Are you where you probably need to be, or as far as you can possibly be at this point?
Yes and no. I think on some things we are, on many things we're not. Right now, the difficult thing with Jackson State is that they're going to press us full court. We haven't worked on that a lot because we felt like other things were more important for us. So it's going to be important that our guards manage the basketball well. Of course, we've got one more day that we can work on that, or 2 more days. But that's going to be probably the biggest thing. We don't have a full court press in yet, really, so just barely in, so we haven't had a lot of time to work against somebody else on that. Of course, we've worked against the guys the last 3 or 4 days, but nonetheless, that's something that we're not going to be real comfortable with yet. But hopefully we can manage it early. Typically, if you manage it early, then teams have a tendency not to extend the floor like that.
Guards are playing pretty well right now. I know, obviously, you look at Lemoyne Owen's score. Your post, you've got a little depth in there, but you need some catching up, probably fitness-wise, probably on the post.
No question. Our fitness is not where we'd like it to be right now. And that's been a year-long discussion, and some took it more seriously than others. So we're having to work on fitness during the season right now, which is not what we choose to do, but it's where we are. Our guards are a little bit further ahead in that regard, so they're going to be able to play a little bit longer minutes than some of our post players. Taylor Barnes, I think, is playing really well. Jamira Schutz is playing really well offensively. We've got to get her up to speed on the defensive end of the floor, and particularly in transition defense. But, you know, everybody saw her the other night. She's a really, really talented player. We're working with her a lot on shot selection and being a playmaker as well as just a scorer, because teams are going to they're going to key on her. There's no question about it. And then Jada Stinson. I think Jada Stinson's playing really hard. She's not hitting the shots that she would like, but she spends time in the gym, so it's only a matter of time that she begins to hit those shots that we expect her to.
Is the challenge of someone like Jamira, who's got a lot of potential? I know a lot of people are talking about the player she could become here. Not to put too much pressure on herself first year. Just play your game. You don't have to carry anything.
Right. No, we don't want her to carry anything. And she's got 2 really good guards on either side of her. Kiana Coombers coming around too. That's third guard. We've got Elena Davis that's a very capable post scorer, and a couple other post players coming off the bench that can score. We don't want her to shoulder too much of the load, because then, number one, we become one-dimensional. Number two, there are going to be some people that have their game plan to take Jamira Shoots out of it. So we got to make sure she understands that, one, she's capable of being a scorer, but two, she's capable of being a playmaker, and she's capable of being a defender. Those are the next two things that have to come around, is her playmaking, defending, and of course rebounding, because she's a very capable rebounder.
After you play your home game with Jackson State, you'll quickly go on the road Monday for a 5:30 game over in Jonesboro. It's been, I know it's been at least 17 years since the Tigers and the Red Wolves have hooked up in women's basketball, but it's a good regional match.
It is a great regional match, and we like those. Brian does a great job with his teams. I think 2 years ago they were in the NCAA tournament, maybe 3. They beat out Arkansas Little Rock for that bid. So they're a quality team, and we like these regional matchups. And so we're going to go there, and they're going to come to us. So it's a home-and-home series.
All right, Coach. Well, first 2 games will get under the belt. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Absolutely.
That is head coach Melissa McFerrin. I'm Jeff Brightwell for the Wolfchase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network.